Luis Gutierez, his background is as a member of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist organization. He's had enormous support from other socialist organizations, Democratic Socialists of America. He's drawn significant support from them. He's been involved in the radical left movement that was founded by radicals in the 1960s, Illinois Public Action, and then the parent organization Citizen Action of Illinois. So he's a true hardcore radical. He was one of the leading voices, if not the leading voices, in the so-called Progressive Caucus, pushing for pardons for 16 convicted FALN terrorists who murdered 6 people and never apologized to any of them. Neither did Gutierrez when he pushed for their release. And they were released. The man is a radical leftist. A radical leftist. And he presents himself as this charming member of Congress who just cares about the children. Only apparently illegal alien children, but still the children, our children, he says. We're the parents for these children. You see the illogic that we're having to deal with that's being rammed down our throats? So you have illegal adults, illegal alien adults, mothers and fathers, who come to this country, and then they demand that their children come to the country. You have adults in other parts of the world now who are sending their children into this country to be legalized on their way to citizenship. And should they become citizens, then they have the right through chain migration to call for their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, and their cousins, not to mention their brothers and sisters. Gutierrez knows exactly what he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are part of a Marxist-Leninist group like the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, if you are part of the Citizen Action of Illinois, if you led the charge to free 16 convicted FALN terrorists, you really don't love this country very much, do you? Let's be frank, or Franco. But let's be honest. There are a lot of forces in this country, a lot of front groups. Some of them are ethnic front groups. Some of them are political front groups. Some of them are economic front groups. Some of them are environmental front groups, whatever, who exist for the purpose of tearing down our society. Anybody with any common sense, regardless of skin color, regardless of genitalia or what you do with your genitalia, regardless of your religion, clearly knows you cannot have open borders and people flooding in from all walks of life. You can't sustain it economically. You can't sustain it culturally. You can't sustain it from a law enforcement, a health point of view. It's a disaster to a society. Now, you and me, we are the society. Blacks, Latinos, Asians, whites from Europe, whites from other part of the world, you name it. This is our country. This is our society. We together are the American people. So when you have these individuals like Gutierrez or Obama or Holder or Pelosi or whomever, or even a Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, trying to rip us apart, trying to create group identity, what they are really trying to do is empower themselves and empower the government, and in the name of group identity, destroy individual identity. You cannot have individual identity if you are lumped together in a group with most people you don't even know. I'm Jewish. Oh, you're part of the Jewish community. Okay, great. I don't even know who they are. Oh, you're Latino. Yes, you're part of the Latino community. Great. Where are you? What is that? Who are they? And you can go down the ethnic group. You can go down the whatever. It serves the purposes of a Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Nancy Pelosi, a Barack Obama. It serves the purposes of an Eric Holder, of a Luis Gutierrez, to treat us not as human beings, but as a collection of people. And they do it on the ethnic front. They do it on the economic front. Oh, the great middle class. I stand for the middle class. They can't even define the middle class, which, of course, they don't stand for. They want to fundamentally transform the country, which means the bulk of us, we the people, are going to be fundamentally transformed. Our lifestyles are. It is important to look at who these self-appointed leaders of this group or that group actually are. And Luis Gutierrez is a radical leftist. Luis Gutierrez was part of the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a Marxist-Leninist entity. His ties are to the Democratic Socialists of America. This doesn't even matter to anybody, does it? A leader of the effort to give pardons to convicted FALN terrorists. Does he represent you? Does he speak for you? And there he is all over TV, speaking for millions and millions of people, most of whom probably don't even know who he is. Never challenged. Never challenged. Ever. It's like this group, La Raza. It's like this group, LULAC. Have there been any investigative reports on these groups by any cable channel? By any news operation anywhere? No. No, they go on and on about conservative groups and their money and their ties to this one and that one. How about these two groups? Nothing, not a word. Why? Why not? La Raza's founding would shock most Americans because the organization was founded in reaction to Mexico, among others, wanting to, quote-unquote, take back these territories that we call Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and California and so forth. We have them illegitimately, don't you know? That's why La Raza was started. Well, we all know we're not going to be conquered militarily from any of our friends south of the border. But in an odd way, we can be conquered through open borders. The corrupt government in Mexico has directly attempted to change America. And now the corrupt government in Mexico is encouraging other countries south of Mexico to do the same. Mexico will not tolerate illegal aliens, period. And I read for you, a month ago or so, the immigration rules that apply to Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador. They will not tolerate illegal aliens either. No country does. Even the European Union woke up, all those leftists. Hey, wait a minute, we better do something about this. A little late, but there they are. When Congress says, if Congress doesn't act, I will, Obama, if Congress doesn't act, I will, what Obama is saying is, hey, look, I'm a Marxist-Leninist too. All these groups that my good friend Luis belongs to, I can outdo them. After all, I had Reverend Wright. After all, I grew up around, politically, Bill Ayers, Bernardine Dorn, our friend Khalidi. I believe he's a professor at Columbia. Oh, yeah. I can out-radical Mr. Gutierrez any day. It's like sitting around a table with these radical leftists in college, you know? Those of us who went to college, there they are, sitting in the corner, wearing their tie-dye shirts, going on and on about how much they hate America and how much America has to be changed and on and on. Now these people run the country. They run the country. This isn't about little Latino children. This isn't about big Latino adults. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about, in Gutierrez's case and so many who claim to represent these children, their contempt for America, their contempt for American history, because this is insanity. And you know it and I know it. Absolute insanity. And Obama's actions are despotic. If Congress doesn't act, Congress doesn't have to act. The Constitution says Congress must act, does not say Congress must act. The Constitution doesn't say if Congress doesn't act, Obama must act. These are all lies. These are all a web of lies created by a man who's increasingly despotic. So what if Congress doesn't act? That doesn't empower you. Where's that written? If Congress doesn't act, it empowers Obama. If Congress doesn't act, Congress doesn't act. Doesn't mean you get to legislate Obama. No, it doesn't. Well, I don't have the budget, he says. I need the budget for this is on the border. So the man creates the catastrophe on the border, then demands money, which doesn't even go to the border. Then he says if Congress doesn't give him what he wants, he's going to act on his own. You see, despotism. And don't worry, because Gutierrez has been saying for weeks now that Obama told him, don't worry, 3, 4, 5, 6 million, wink, wink, we'll take care of that, Luis. They're two peas in the same pod. Take care of that, Luis, don't worry. I got your back. Obama doesn't want Congress to act. Obama wants to make the decision, and he wants to decide how this is going to be done. Harry Reid is his puppet in the United States Senate, blocking everything and anything unless Obama nods his head. And I hope the people in Nevada, I hope you remove him once and for all, because he is a cancer on the body politic of our country. But this is all an inside game, and you can hear Gutierrez and others. Their rhetoric is getting increasingly out of control. I'm going to play some more of them. I want you to hear some of the others from the, what do they call it, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, on how you hate Latinos, particularly babies and children, because you don't believe in open borders and amnesty. Pretty amazing stuff. where we have Marxist-Leninists running the country. Obama's major influences as he was growing up in Hawaii, not just being bong man with the, is that what you call it, Mr. Producer? I don't know. Taking the bongs, chong gang, whatever he called it. A pothead and a coke user, let me be blunt. But he was taken under the wing of a committed Marxist, an extreme Marxist. That's the name Frank in his multiple autobiographies. And then, of course, surrounded himself with these people. And now we have this Gutierez, comes out of the same political mindset. And these are the people setting policy for the country. This is why they reject our Constitution. They reject the limits that are placed on their power. Give a damn about that. Marx teaches them, screw that. Hell with it. Doesn't matter. You can throw the terms around, but see, the problem is the white majority in this country hate Latino babies. See, that's the problem. The white majority in this country hate Latino babies. Yet, the Latino majority in Guatemala, El Salvador, and wherever, they obviously love Latino children, which is why they're trying to escape those countries and come here. I don't get it. If this white majority in America is so awful, why do so many people come here who aren't white? Because it's a great country. It's not awful. You don't see people pouring into Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador, do you? So this isn't about some kind of hatred for Latino babies or children. Quite the contrary. There's no reason Latino babies and children can't come into this country in a legal immigration process, and many, many, many do. Why does the Mexican government hate Latino baby and children who aren't Mexican? I mean, this is so stupid. The whole damn thing is so moronic. Look how we get caught in the gutter that is the left, where they live, where they practice their politics. Just is so appalling.